have 3 members present. Join me, please, in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Note to the public, the Board of Supervisors welcomes comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You are requested to approach the microphone, state your name for the record, and limit the time used to present your remarks in order that others may be given the opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda item is for the chairperson to read the item from the agenda. The board is given an opportunity to comment on the issue and/or place a motion on the floor, and an opportunity for discussion may be presented, at which time the public may participate, and a roll call vote will follow. Beginning here with item number 1, approval or amendment of agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to approve the agenda with the following changes to item number 21 and 22 located on page 11 of our agenda. Item number 21, the dollar amount at the end of that item should be changed to $27,790.
That's on number 21.
Number 21, the dollar amount at the end, $27,790. And item number 22, the dollar amount should be changed to $113,790. With those 2 changes to the agenda, I would motion for approval.
And I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amended agenda. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 1 is approved. The consent agenda is approval of the minutes of the regular session of June 12, 2018. Item number 3 is annual manure management plan update for the Burt Farm and Livestock Site 8, ID number 59927. Annual update report received and placed on file, no changes to the manure management plan. Item number 4 is annual manure management plan update, Justin Whitaker, ID number 66798. Annual update report received and placed on file with no changes to the manure management plan. Item number 5, accept manure management plan update, MTM Farms, ID number 61010. Annual update report received and placed on file with no changes to the manure management plan. Item number 6, accept annual manure management plan update, Pickard Brothers Finisher, ID number 68561. Annual update report received and placed on file with no changes to the manure management plan. Item number 7 is approved transfer of funds, transfer number 888, a quarterly transfer of $550,000 from rural services funds to secondary road fund, but not to exceed the maximum transfer and be above the minimum transfer amount required by the Iowa Code 33.1.429 B. Transfer number 889, an annual transfer from LOST, lost revenue, and the Rural Services Fund to Secondary Road Fund in the amount of $695,357.83. Transfer number 890, an annual transfer totaling $1,181.39 from Urban Renewal Tax Revenue Fund to Low to Moderate Income Housing Fund. Transfer number 891, an annual transfer holding $2,275.44 from County Attorney Collection Incentive Fund to General Basic Fund for County Attorney Office cleaning expense. Transfer number 892, a transfer of $375,000 from General Basic Fund to Capital Projects Fund. And item number 8, approved claims as audited, and authorize the county auditor recorder to issue payment of the same. The listing of the claims paid at this meeting and all claims paid in the month of June will be published as part of the first meeting in July. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed.
Mr. Chair, I would second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further questions?
Just a comment, for the press that's here for a long time, we've been talking about the fact that we are out of debt and we're starting our savings. That transfer of $375,000 from general basic to the capital, that is the beginning of our savings program. That'll occur again in next budget year and succeeding budget year. So this is the first step. In what we
Yep.
said we were going to do, being debt-free and saving for future projects. It's been a long time coming.
Being debt-free does not take the responsibilities off our shoulders.
Absolutely not.
We continue. Any further discussion, comments? Roll call vote, please.
Solosik,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Item number 9, approved personnel actions. A, change of status and change of rate of pay. Eric Devick, secondary roads, full-time. Change of status from truck driver number 1 to truck driver number 2. Change rate of pay from $23.96 an hour to $24.60 an hour, effective June 26, 2018. This time, Chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve personnel action changing Eric Devick, secondary road, from truck driver 1 to 2, rate of pay $23.96 to $24.60 an hour, effective June 26, 2018.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Paul?
Eric, as you know, is a new full-time hire, but he's been driving part-time for us for approximately 20 years, so keeping him on probation is just a formality, and I just want to get that switched as quick as we could, so
Okay.
that's why he's on so fast.
Yeah, thank you. Any further discussion? Not, roll call vote, please.
Solosik.
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 9A has been approved. Going on then to number 10, request for use of the courthouse grounds, request from MoveOn.org for the use of the courthouse grounds on Saturday, June 30th, 2018, from 12 to 3 p.m. for a peaceful protest in support of children who cannot speak for themselves. The chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I motion that we approve the request from MoveOn.org for the use of the courthouse grounds on Saturday, June 30th, 2018, from 12 to 3 for a peaceful protest in support of children who cannot speak for themselves.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
Hi.
Mark.
My name is Steve Edelman, and I am organizing this event. It is MoveOn.org is sponsoring it, but we have partnered with the the Immigrant Allies of Marshalltown for the event. It is focused on families. It is 100% intended to be peaceful, and we want to keep it as civil as possible. We are arranging for community leaders and students to be able to speak, and the entire event is focused on making sure that immigrants are treated fairly, as well as families have the ability to stay together. I'll keep it brief, but I did have some notes I wanted to say real quick. Over the last year, there's been a lot of protests and events around the country for everything from women's rights to civil rights to gun laws. And they've all been very, very important causes, but until recently I haven't personally been moved to join in and speak out. On Father's Day, I watched the news and saw children being separated at the Texas border and that sort of thing. And I was able to hug my children. I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. And I was able to hug and kiss my children, and that was meaningful to me. And then I realized in a very moving moment that there were a lot of kids who wanted to do that and wouldn't be able to. So this made me think that something had to be done, that we had to speak up about it. I'm not a politician. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I think that I know there's going to be a national movement on that day, and I felt like we should take a national issue and make it local, and we chose the courthouse because it is a symbol of justice and unity and order of law, as well as the fact that we have the added bonus of this building being, the architect was the same as the Capitol building in Des Moines, so it kind of mirrors that, which is which is nice. So I thank you guys for your time and consideration. We really think that this is going to be a very successful event and give people who otherwise wouldn't become involved a chance to see that their voice matters.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Just a comment, you know, we welcome it. We believe very strongly in freedom of speech and peaceable assembly. I appreciate you mentioned peaceable assembly and keeping it as much as possible. My suggestion is it is 100% peaceable assembly. That is guaranteed by the Constitution.
Mr. Hoffman?
Good morning, gentlemen. In the last hour, I don't really have a comment, I have a question. A constituent reached out to me asking if there was another event scheduled that day. Are you aware if there is one currently scheduled on the courthouse grounds?
I don't think so.
Would you
Okay.
please check our calendar, but to my knowledge, not that I know of, did that constituent mention what it might have been?
They'd mentioned the Bible Marathon, and I'm not familiar with what date that is scheduled for the day,
If that
but
is the Bible Marathon reading, the courthouse grounds are already being used.
I didn't write the Bible Marathon down. We did that at our last meeting.
Let's go back and check.
Thank you.
I'm asking Lisa to come in.
Okay, you're ahead of me. Your computer works faster than my phone.
Well, I can type faster on the full keyboard than a little phone.
So you're telling me my fingers are a little big for that keyboard?
I know I can do this faster than I can do that.
Okay.
If this is the case, we should have caught it quicker, but, some of us were busy and ill this last.
and to be clear, this constituent didn't have an objection to the combination. They were just pointing it out, and I had to admit that I wasn't aware of the dates or if any of the people involved had communicated about a joint event or if one event would detract or complement the other. So.
Do you know what time? I don't even know if that's.
When they start reading, it's for a period of time from start to finish, and it's over more than a day. I can't remember the start time.
Can I make a comment while you're?
Certainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Joa LaVille, and actually before I put the hat on that I'm here to talk about, I just want to thank you for your support. I work at the public library. Thank you for the supervisor's support of our rural families being able to use the library. We have tons of families signed up for summer reading, so thank you. I'm here today from Immigrant Allies of Marshalltown in conjunction with Steve's planning of the Families Belong Together event. And, you know, it would be my hope that anyone who wanted to spend the day reading the Bible and reflecting on the meaning, that would fit very well with exactly what we are hoping to do, which is Immigrant Allies prides ourselves on being a bridge building organization in terms of bringing community together. And to me, if we can't come together over standing up for children, you know, I think that's a fundamental thing that we can all come together about. And so it is my hope that we, regardless of what we find out about the timing, that we could still hopefully figure out something and be in conjunction. So thank you.
Okay. You bet. Thank you.
Could you repeat your name for me?
Oh, it's Joa, J-O-A, LaVille, L-A-V-I-L-L-E.
Thank you.
Sure.
Same day.
Okay. Here's what we,
The,
right.
the Bible reading marathon is from June 30th from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 p.m. So we already have a commitment. I
From
wish-
8 to 8.
Yeah,
8 to 8.
and I know they're gonna be on the courthouse steps, and they've got,
It's up on the screen there, Dave.
yeah. They didn't, okay, last year we got them electricity, this year they didn't need it.
Is there a way we can do it on a different part of the yard?
That's my question. Wouldn't that?
Say that again, Lucas.
I mean, is there a way we can do it on a different part of the yard? If these guys are looking to the front, I mean, can we move to the south side or east or west corner or something? I don't know what kind of numbers you're.
I would wanna keep them separated.
Yeah.
And our lineup of speakers will only be a smaller part, will only be like an hour at the most. possible we could reach out to them, or?
Well, you know, that sounds good, but we have to do our approval this
Oh,
morning for
absolutely.
your
Sure,
event.
sure.
So, you know, reaching out is,
We would be more than willing to essentially share the courthouse lawn. And since they obviously were here first, it would be fine that they would have, you know, preferences to where, and we can work around that without, with trying our best not to disrupt what they're doing, because, you know, obviously what they're doing is extremely important as well.
Is your date particularly firm, or are you able to do a different date?
Unfortunately, it coincides with a national movement. There's going to be protests in all 50, there's over 300 events planned on the 30th. So it is unfortunately pretty locked in as the day.
I don't believe we can approve two at once. You guys,
I disagree. I think we could make it work. But this is a pretty big area here.
I could do the one on the north side and one on the south side, but quite frankly, we've already given our approval to the other entity.
That's gotta
And
stay.
I would like to check with them first to make sure that there isn't an issue. Steve, when they reached out to you, did they give you a contact telephone number?
Well, I don't even know if this individual is connected with
Okay.
the Bible reading or not. They were just,
Man, would you do me a
I
favor?
have a number here.
Okay, you've got a contact number?
Yeah, or Jared does.
Jared, yeah, give him a quick buzz.
Here, I'll take it. I don't know about it.
Step out and give them a call.
yeah.
Okay. Why don't we,
We're gonna take a pause.
take a pause on this or go on to the next item? And I'm gonna step out and give them a call real quick and see what I can come up with.
We're gonna take a pause.
I don't know, maybe an hour or anything. Maybe you can even do an approval contingent on mutual agreement between the parties.
Yeah.
And if that agreement can happen, you can still approve it without having to do a special meeting later this week.
I hate to put that on someone else, but I see what you're saying.
Hopefully he reaches some and it is a big lawn. It just depends how many people there are.
Yeah. A dozen's easier to handle.
Right.
the last time I seen it, they had
They each have 300 people. That's going to make it a little higher.
read every book of the Bible and announce it. So that's why if there were other speakers, I could see that would be, that might not necessarily complement each other. at the
Sure,
time.
yeah, but if we could just let them decide when we could even, I mean, if there were two speakers, we could.
I'm really,
You know, we could.
oh my God. I don't know if there's a calendar for the courthouse lawn. I didn't find one.
Steve, the Bible folks are gonna be on this side of the steps, right?
That was the intent originally, yeah.
Since they don't plan to use the PA system we would use, we would have to pass it. What's nice about it is that our event was on the north side, I'm sorry, the south side, it was on the north. Whoever, our event would more than likely be more than willing to go over and participate there. So it's extra exposure for them, which is great because this is a very Christian place. Keep our families together. So if you're reading, reading, try to make sure that our event stays even here on our side for the most part, but I think anything that would wander over there would be more than that's a small level of what it is. So I don't remember what they did last year. I remember one year it was
There's a national deal too, though. All done at the same time.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I mean, it's everything.
But I don't remember if that was last year or not, to be honest.
Well, hopefully we can find
I don't know.
that.
I saw the way to last year.
Thank you.
Yes.
Seems like they're on their way to shit. Yeah, it seems like it. Sounds like it's kind of up to them if they're willing to.
Yeah. The first one's highway and health.
We have a kit, my husband's supposed to be the kid, and we got, I've heard a lot of people having interesting experiences with the DNA thing, where they always stop at sort of on the main road.
You know, we need a picture of the courthouse with leaves and grass. Looks ugly. It looks a little bleak.
Oh, yeah, and so we'll just,
Yeah.
The trees block so much.
I'm not complaining, James.
But you kind of are.
Now you've issued a challenge. Now you've issued him a challenge, I can tell that.
You know, I
Ah,
think
look
it'd be
at
nice
there.
if it was different, according to the
Ask
weather
and thou shalt
outside.
receive.
I know.
Sunny day, it was just sunny. Could you just change it every day according to the weather?
Rotate it.
Yeah. Snow in the winter.
Well, I guess it's not Steve's.
You know, James, over in the city's building over there, they got a big picture, an old picture, I don't know how old it is. It's a picture from an airplane of just the city square.
Oh, really?
The north half, north of the courthouse is solid trees.
Yeah.
You can't even see through it. And that's a long time ago, I don't remember that at all.
Plus, I think doing the atmosphere of that.
Grass and trees.
I know when there was something years ago, telling people they were on the side of the building.
Okay,
It seemed to keep things just.
come back to order. Mr. Thompson, do you have an answer for us?
I do. I spoke with the individuals that are going to be using the courthouse grounds. They're gonna be on the north side. Part of their whole thing is this is a quiet reading. If we were to look at this and say, they don't want to be an impediment, but it's very important to them that it be quiet. You're literally looking at a peaceful protest. Protests by their very nature, and your speakers have a very strong tendency not to be quiet. So, you know, this is kind of a tough spot we're in. We don't want to infringe on it.
A half an hour of our lineup not being
I'm,
permissible?
you know, it's between what we gave them a formal request before and we honored it, and it's what they have just said is they don't want to say no, but, you know, at the same time, they need quiet. And you're now talking half hour, but you're talking a peaceful protest that'll go from 12 to 3.
That was just a block of time. Honestly, when Joe and I were speaking about it, we were gonna be surprised if it lasted an hour and a half. But I wanted to secure that time spot in case other people felt like they wanted to speak or whatever. If we know that this is something that we need to limit on time, we can do that. We can keep it just to our speakers. And because I don't expect our speakers will get too loud other than the use of PA. And peacefully wrap it up. That way we've still kind of made our point without intruding on what they want. We have no problem respecting what's going on with that.
I know you don't have a problem
You're worried about
respecting it, but I'm
attendees.
worried about the people that may come in from other areas to join in on this.
Sure, that's fair.
You know, quite honestly, MoveOn.org has sponsored a lot of protests across the country in the last couple of years, and they've been anything but peaceful and quiet.
Well, Immigrant Allies has also done a lot of major community events, and we did the Walk for the Dream. We brought hundreds of people together, and it's always been family-friendly, respectful of property. So I think we also are not shy about letting people know what we expect. And if you look at our event, it reiterates the peaceful, the signs will be peaceful. So, I mean, is it possible that we can talk with the organizers and come to a
Well,
agreement? If they, I mean, I understand
we
that
just-
you're
And that's
dealing
fine,
with
but
what they say.
our discussion and our approval needs to be done this
Okay.
morning, and we cannot hold another meeting to give you an approval for this
So could
past
I
today.
call them and ask the question? Could I call them and propose that we would hold it to noon to 1 with speakers, and maybe we'll have a song or something?
I think your proposal needs to just stay with the board, but that's your guys' decision.
We had discussed the possibility of them using the south side of the courthouse.
Yes, and I proposed that, and she was quite concerned that what they're doing is a quiet reading. That was the concern they expressed.
At this point, then, we would need to amend the motion and insert, pardon me, the words south side of the courthouse.
May I, real quick, address your concern about MoveOn.org?
I'm not gonna talk about it today,
No.
okay?
Fair enough.
That's,
Yep.
this isn't where we wanna do that.
No,
I
Okay,
understand. Yeah,
and, but I appreciate your concern,
okay.
okay? The chair is open for a.
Would you like me to amend my motion?
I would, please.
Can you change your time? Do you, first, before I do that, do you have an alternate location possibly?
We're working on it.
Probably not at this
Honestly, we
time.
were pretty hard set on this, and when we heard that it was open at the time, because it wasn't on the calendar, we were really excited about it. So we would have to come up with one ultimately.
We can reduce our time, though. It could be
Yeah, that would
12 to
be
1, and we would be fine with being on the opposite side if that's something you're considering.
So if I was to amend my motion from 12 to 1 and very quiet and respectful,
Well, we plan to be respectful. If we're speaking to a group, there's going to be a microphone like there would at any presentation, but we can, I mean, I think if,
We have avenues of communication with those who plan to attend the event, and they have been very responsive to anything that we've posted as far as our requirements, requests, suggestions, that sort of thing. And so obviously we'd be more than willing to reach out to them and make sure and reiterate every day until the event that this is going to have to be a very quiet and peaceful event.
and I think possibly adding that we'll have more of a feel of a vigil, which would fit
Yeah.
well with the prayerful. I think that's doable.
Yeah.
okay. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to amend my motion and amend the request. Request is for use of the courthouse grounds from MoveOn.org for the use of the courthouse grounds on Saturday, June 30th, 2018, from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock for a peaceful protest in support of children who cannot speak for themselves. This protest will be on the south side of the grounds, and it will be quiet and respectful of the other organization that is using the courthouse grounds for the same time.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? This is on an amended version of this request.
I guess I could say something. And just a recommendation for me, the Bible reading will be up in this area, I believe, on the north side. I think if we stayed down here in the grassy areas on the south side, that would probably be best suited. There is power down here, so if we do have a microphone, keep it quiet, you have power options
Yep.
in the yard here.
And their Bible reading is going to be there, but they've also invited people to come and use the entire grounds and
Yes.
sit.
Yeah, so there'll probably be quite a few people up on the north side.
Right, and that was their
Down here.
concern,
Yeah.
was they're going to not only just be reading there, but they're gonna have multiple individuals here in lawn chairs and other things.
Yeah, but that's just where I would, from my standpoint, that's where I would.
Now, the power is free. We don't charge for the power. So you can plug in there and use that. Any organization that comes and uses our courthouse grounds, the power is free.
Thank you.
Point that out to you.
Do we need to designate that the east-west sidewalk would be kind of?
I would use that as a delineation point, yes.
Is that acceptable?
The one that runs across.
Yeah.
Okay.
Side lawns, yeah.
Any further questions or discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay, the amended request has passed. Thank you for coming, appreciate that. Number 11, Resolution 2018-0034, authorizing Board of Supervisors sign documents at the Marshall County Farm Service Agency. This we have done in the past, and it needs to be redone a little bit here. And to summarize what this is going to do, it's going to allow the supervisors to sign any type of government programs that we need to sign, which would be in the aid and helpfulness of the people who are farming it at that time. The Marshall County Supervisors will have that ability for the county farm on this one. Then the next one is authorizing, which would be item number 12, that will authorize the Marshall County Board, Conservation Board Director and/or Chair to do the same thing, signing at the FSA office for the land in which they are responsible for. So you have a couple of places. You have the Collenberg Prairie Reserve, and then you also have down around where you at. So any comments there, Mike, or it's pretty straightforward, actually.
Yeah,
And,
I guess I've had nothing, just at the Grimes Farm in Cloudberg. The title of the ground is listed under Marshall County, but it's under the responsibility and management of the Conservation Board.
Yeah, in our agenda here, we split it out and we put the legal location of these areas of ground so that they are not mixed up. This is what the FSA office needs to have in their file, and then we'll have it all taken care of. It doesn't do anything for you, doesn't do anything for us, but it could, in some instances, help the farmer. So this is what we're trying to do. Okay, first of all then is that we have item number 11, which speaks to just the county farm and supervisors, and the chair would entertain a motion for that.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to adopt this resolution number 2018-0034, authorizing Board of Supervisors to sign documents at the Marshall County Farm Service Agency.
Mr. Chair, I will second that.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further questions or comments? Not, roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 11 has been approved. Moving on then to item number 12, which speaks to the FSA office and then the Grimes Farm and the Collenberg Farm. The chair would entertain a motion for this.
Mr. Chair, I would motion that we adopt resolution number 2018-0035, authorizing the Marshall County Conservation Board Director to sign documents at the Marshall County Farm Service Agency. In the absence of the Marshall County Conservation Board Director, the Marshall County Conservation Board Chair is also authorized to sign these documents.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion, comments? If not, roll call vote, please.
Solosek.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 12 has been approved and passed. Moving on then to item number 13. This is Resolution 2018-0036. This is an E911 Joint Services Board Physical Agent resolution. And I will read this through, and then if we have anyone who wishes to speak to that, they may. Whereas the city of Marshalltown in the past has performed the function of physical agent for the E911 Joint Services Board as part of a prior 2010 28E agreement, and whereas the city of Marshalltown has given notice that the city will no longer serve as physical agent after June 30th, 2018, and whereas Iowa Code requires a physical agent for the E911 Joint Services Board, be it resolved, the Marshall County Board of Supervisors volunteer to serve as physical agent for the E911 Joint Services Board effective upon approval of the E911 Joint Service Board. With that, I would let's take a little bit out of context here, somewhat, and before we move to move the motion on this, let's do our discussion first this time around. Anyone have anything that they wish to discuss?
I'm Evan Folk. I'm on the Joint 911 Services Board, EMA Board, and the Marshall County Communications Commission. I am the acting mayor of Laurel. On my own behalf and that behalf of the city of Laurel, I appreciate the fact that the county has stepped up to the plate and understand the basic civics things that we learned in junior high school 40 years ago about taking care of the primary functions of government, which is to provide infrastructure and also provide public safety for the constituency. I know the city had done it before. It seems as though they don't want to take on that responsibility, and that's unfortunate. They're not, as I would say, being good civic partners in this. And myself personally, I appreciate the fact that the Board of Supervisors has come out and is going to offer this to the 911 Services Board, and I hope to see that come before us here really quick.
Thank you.
This is something that we've spent a little bit of time on. We've had a couple of meetings within the courthouse here to see if we were able to do this, if we had enough people on board to do this. And that was one of my concerns. Are we going to overtax the people that we already have on board? We do not have money in our budget designated to be able to add more people. So it kind of put us a little bit between a rock and a hard place. But in visiting with the people who will be doing this through the auditor recorder's office, they assured me it could be done and be done on a timely basis. So I just kind of wanted to set that on the table so that everybody knows where we're coming from. Anybody else? Steve?
Yes, I guess I feel the same way. That I'm glad that our people were able to step up and feel like they could take this on. So,
yep,
kudos to that.
Big time. We met with our auditor and her staff. They, without question, felt it was very important that we continue the smooth transition and running of everything with 911, and felt that we as a county should step up and fill in and take care of this, so that there aren't any delays or anything in the transition that we're going from the current 911's breakdown and to the next group of leadership. So I agree with everything you gentlemen have said.
Chairman?
Yes, yes.
Another thing I failed to mention is the short notice. We were given notice, the 911 Services Board was given notice 16 days ago, 16 days of notice to have us find our own physical agent by the end of June 30th. So it's really nice to see that the county was able to come together to do this quickly, because the 911 board is an autonomous board, so we have to find that agent, and it makes it difficult when you're a government agency to follow all the rules that are necessary. And so it's really important that this happened for us, and we really appreciate it.
We were kind of scrambling that day. You were at that meeting, and the meeting was held at 5:30 at night. But the notice that the commission and the group 911 received from the city on discontinuing of these was that morning of the meeting. So it was not only that there was less than a 2-week notice that it was a discontinuation of services, but it was less than a 12-hour notice before we had our meeting to read that into the record and to speak with members of the commission, and the commission was not happy. But we're gonna fix that.
Now, for this to happen, if we approve this today, this still has to go back to the 911 Services Board. They have to approve it, because as we just said, they're an autonomous board. They are their own people, and so they have to approve this also. So we got a short amount of time here before the 1st of July to get this thing accomplished, if we want to do it in that framework.
One of the largest reasons we're stepping up to the plate is we checked with Beth Miller at Bowman and Company, and if your commission and 911 Services Board was to go to an outside agency and have these checks written, there would have to be a separate audit done of just that agency, and the cost of that audit would be between $3,600 and $8,000. So by the county stepping up to the plate here, we're eliminating that, because Bowman and Miller already currently does the audit of our books, and this would be no different than us being the fiscal agent for anybody else that would be included in that audit, which would save the 911 Services Board that amount of money. So we're being as judicious stewards of the taxpayers' money as possibly can.
I'm going to just add too, I mean, not just the audit, but when you get into all the insurance functions and everything else, if they'd be a complete standalone entity, they'd have to hire some sort of service or buy software. I mean, the additional costs for that entity would be a lot more than even the audit. But the audit, we had a very concrete dollar amount very quickly. So, and for the number of checks per month that they currently have, it just made absolutely no sense.
No.
So it's not going to be, there's a little bit of timing difference because their board meetings are different than our board meetings here, but it's something that we currently handle already with, you know, Kim Elder and her group, so.
But without question, we applaud you and your staff for stepping up to the plate and making the offer.
Mary said it was not a problem.
It was, that's the exact words,
Yeah.
not a problem,
Not
we'll
a
handle
problem.
it.
Yep, so,
Does this have to be brought before the city again, what we
No.
decide?
No.
They've played their hand.
They've played their
Staff.
hand, yep.
Okay.
Okay. Any other comments, changes? Everything works?
Mr. Chairman, that being said, I would motion that we adopt resolution number 2018-0036, the E911 Joint Services Board Fiscal Agent, effective upon approval of the E91 Joint Services Board.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Solosik.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 13 has been approved and adopted. Moving on then to resolution 0037, and Mr. Heil.
Good morning, gentlemen. This item here, we have 3 parcels. These parcels were all on our public nuisance tax sale. These were certified to the county from the city of Marshtown that they were abandoned and a nuisance to the city. And there were no bidders to bid on the public nuisance sale, so by default, the county then takes these tax sale certificates following the sale. And now we in turn are going to assign these certificates to the city of Marshalltown to allow them to go through the tax sale process. These are on their list of dangerous and dilapidated properties. So this is something we can do through the tax sale process to assist the city on cleaning up these parcels here in town.
Okay, well stated. Any further, first of all, I guess the chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to adopt resolution number 2018-0037, approving the assignment of certificate of purchase tax sale.
Mr. Chairman, I would second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Roll call vote, please.
Solosek.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution's been approved and adopted. Moving on then to the next one. And it's resolution number 15. Mr. Heil again.
This is a request of abatement of mobile home taxes. This is actually just a cleanup in our system. Situation where this mobile home actually left the county. It's out of the county, and we didn't realize it. So then we had put the tax out there to collect, and it was gone. And we found out from the county that it's in that they are paying taxes there. So we just need to strike this from the books, and this is the process we need to do it.
Okay. Chair, entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we adopt resolution number 2018-0038, abatement of mobile home taxes.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Solosek.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Motion's been approved and adopted. And we're moving on then to, thank you, Mr. Heil.
Hey, you're welcome.
And moving on to item number 16, authorized lease purchase agreement. Discussion and possible action on the authorization of a lease purchase agreement for 2 Dodge Ram 1500 SSV trucks and 1 Dodge Charger pursuit vehicle for Sheriff's Office. The public hearing was held on February 7, 2017. The chair would entertain a motion.
I would make a motion, Mr. Chair, to approve the lease purchase agreement and authorize the chairman to sign.
Mr. Chairman, I will second that.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Hoffman, any comments or is this straightforward?
Yeah, straightforward. This is 3 of the 4 vehicles that we ordered last winter, and they arrived here in late May and early June in the process of being outfitted and upfitted.
We're good.
Are we going to have any on the fence, or is everything going to go instantly into rotation?
It does take a process to work them through the rotation, so some will sit back there for a while before they are deployed.
Are we getting rid of any?
As you're aware, we got rid of a number here in the last year. We will have some older vehicles going to auction coming up by fall, and some that will be coming out of service. These that come out of service will also go out of rotation.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I will second that.
Been moved and seconded. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote,
Yes.
please. Yeah. Oh, pardon me. Oh, jump in there.
I'm sorry.
Not like you're fine. Steve, I need an explanation on a lease purchase agreement. Are we truly leasing these vehicles then for 3 years, or are we purchasing them outright?
That's been the board's decision in the past up until this upcoming fiscal year. The board has opted,
To pay for
rather than, yes, to lease purchase those vehicles for the last number of purchase cycles. And then, as you're aware, in the upcoming budget cycle, those funds have been appropriated to my budget. Will be from here forward, at least this next year, will be outright purchase.
These should be the last of the lease purchase.
Yeah.
But this is out of our existing budget.
Yeah, this is
not the next
FY
one.
18
Right.
versus 19, where we'll be purchasing them direct.
Okay.
So basically, when we look at these vehicles as opposed to the ones that will be purchased next year, assuming that the cost would be relatively the same, the cost to the taxpayer will be about 8.5% less, because you won't have interest, you won't have leasing fees, you won't have bonding fees. or not bonding, but you won't have the associated fees with it. So this is just, once again, one of those last steps in being debt-free and going on to handling the budget differently than we've handled it in the past.
Okay, any further comments?
No.
Okay.
I did want to make a note that, as Steve pointed out, this is 3 of the 4 vehicles, so there is another vehicle for FY18 that isn't through the system yet. So that one we're still waiting on. If I understand, it's a Ford. It's not a Dodge. So that's why these 3 got all done at the same time, because the other one is being purchased from a different entity.
Okay.
So that will be yet to be coming.
Roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay. Item number 16 has been approved. Moving on to item number 17, this is resolution 2018-0037, appropriation of funds FY 2018-19, whereas it is desired to make appropriations for each of the different offices and departments for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2018, in accordance with section 331.434, subsection 6, Code of Iowa. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Marshall County, Iowa, as follows. And I'm not going to read all of those, you guys have any comments on them?
These would have been the exact items, line item totals that we put out when we did our budget. It's just a breakdown by individual office, and this is just the final appropriation of those figures. Comes to $24,678,217. Keep in mind that approximately half of that is what gets assessed to the property taxpayers. The other half comes from intergovernmental funds and grants and things. This is just kind of a finalization of our budget, getting ready to rock and roll for the new year, starting July 1st.
Okay. Chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would motion that we adopt resolution number 2018-0039, appropriation of funds for the fiscal year 2018-2019.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Nan, is there anything you want to say in regard to this that we haven't talked about?
No, it does balance with what Mary provided, so that's always nice to see that the numbers work out.
Yeah.
We're kind of picky that way.
I've got Mary's information here as well, so that's always good to see. And no, so that's just kind of a formality to get started on our new year.
And it did balance to the penny. I looked.
At least to the
Imagine
dollar.
that.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Motion, the resolution has been adopted. Moving on then to 18, resolution 2018-0040, advance issuance of payments. The Board of Supervisors, pursuant to section 331.506, subsection 3A and B, Code of Iowa, may authorize the Iowa Auditor and Recorder to issue payment when said board is not in session for the following purposes: fixed charges including but not limited to freight, express, postage, water, light, and telephone service, or contracted services after a bill is filed with the auditor recorder. Salaries and payroll, if the compensation has been fixed or approved by the board, the salary or payroll shall be certified by the officer or supervisor under whose direction or supervision the compensation is earned. Therefore, be it resolved to authorize the county auditor recorder to issue payments for the herefore mentioned when said board is not in session. Be it further resolved, all bills paid under provisions of section 331.506, subsection 3A and 3B, Code of Iowa, shall be submitted to the board for review and approval following the payment. Dated at Marshalltown, Iowa on this 26th day of June 2018. Chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to adopt resolution number 2018-0040, advanced issuance of payments for fiscal year 2018-19.
Mr. Chair, I would second that.
Been moved and seconded. Any further comments or questions, discussion?
just once again, something we do on an annual basis so that the auditor can pay the reoccurring bills.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Solosek,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Motion has been approved and adopted. Moving on then to item number 19, this is resolution 2018-0041, establish the Marshall County Communications Commission Fund. And going through this, it gets us down to a resolution that establishes the Marshall County Communications Commission Fund. It just allows this to occur. Is there a need for me to read this whole thing, Board?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I would motion that we adopt resolution number 2018-0041, the establishment of a Marshall County Communications Fund.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
So, just so I understand, this is for, one of the big things with the commission is they only have exactly the amount of money needed to pay for salaries and benefits. What funding will go into this fund?
These are the dollars that come in from property taxes that pay the salaries and benefit packages, probably also the insurances.
Yep.
The other portion of the expenses, which would be equipment, furniture, and things on that order, come from the surcharge.
Okay.
Which is on the 911 Joint Services Board.
Right.
And
Right.
those bills, we just did.
Mm-hmm. Right, yep.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
two different silos of money.
Today is confusing. And now, so this one is the new levy that we did, and it's a county levy, and that's what pays only salaries and benefits, which would include staff's insurance and things.
Right, so they would have, and obviously that's not your guys' board, that's their board who make this decision, but they could vote to, they'd have to vote to increase the levy, right, to have the insurance?
That's right. They have, and that comes up just like everybody else. It goes in the paper, but then it goes through then Kim Elder and that group.
Okay.
But it has to come through the county when it is a county levy, because we're the only entity who can do a county levy.
Right.
And where before it was city, divided between city and county. County had theirs, city had theirs, and then it always came out right in the end.
Okay.
And this is, hopefully this makes it, when we get down the road a little ways, a little more clear. It'll be on your tax statement, you can see what it is, where before you never would be able to see that.
Okay.
So,
The fairest way to handle this, if I had a magic wand and could wave it, would be to increase the actual surcharge on landlines and cell phones so that that surcharge to those 911 addresses and individuals that actually use it would be the payers, so that it's off the backs of the property taxpayers, because it's a disproportionate fund. Take, for example, a business that has one address, that's one telephone number. The cost to provide that service is identical to that of a residence, yet the business entity may be paying 5-10 times as much. It's just disproportionate funding.
Yep, okay.
In a perfect world, the state would step up and realize that and change it, but they're a little slow at that.
We have contacted the state about that.
Speak with them quite frequently on it.
It takes a while.
They move really slow, but it's something that we push from a legislative standpoint continuously whenever we get an opportunity to talk with our legislators, or if we're down to the State House and meeting with officials.
Any further questions? If not, roll call vote, please.
Solosek,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion has been approved and the resolution has been adopted. Moving on then to item number 20, resolution 2018-0042, maintain Marshall County chart of accounts. Chair will entertain a motion for this.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to adopt resolution number 2018-0042, maintain Marshall County charts of accounts.
Mr. Chair, I would second that.
Moved and seconded. Any questions about this? Early Childhood Fund Program was established as a pass-through thing. It's actually using a different source of funds at this point, and this is, can I say this is out of date?
It's been since that time, so it's just another year.
Yeah.
But we've been doing it for a long, 6 years.
Yeah, and, legislative-wise, there is a chart of accounts from the Iowa legislature that has to be used. It's literally
Right, we don't
how
use
it's broke
that.
down, okay.
But we are, when we upgrade to Tyler 10, we are gonna be changing our chart of accounts, so we might be,
Another benefit of moving to Tyler.
another benefit of moving to Tyler, upgrading, so.
Hopefully, yeah.
Sounds so nice.
Yeah, so there will be some changes in getting, providing some consistency and doing what the state's recommending, so.
Okay,
Of course, we've done a little research, Mary and I, on this. For a chart of accounts the state's telling you how to do, and looking at other people's counties, it's a bit open to interpretation. I'm just gonna.
Isn't it strange, the state has a chart of accounts, but not everybody
Well, they have a
kinda
little
doesn't-
tweaking,
yeah.
there's a few things we can't get quite the detail we need, so we can see why people are tweaking it for the information their county needs, so. But we will definitely be conforming way more than we are now.
Okay, sounds good. Any further questions?
No, sir.
Roll call vote, please.
Slosik,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay. Been approved, this resolution has been adopted. Moving on then to item number 21. Secondary road supplemental agreement for final design services of Calhoun Burns Associates Incorporated. Discussion and possible action on a supplemental agreement with Calhoun and Burns Associates for final design services for Marshall County Bridge G10 located in section 23 of Taylor Township. This will be funded by FY19 equipment budget. Estimated fees for these services. Now, this is one that we changed when we amended our agenda. The $5,950 is crossed out, and we inserted $27,790. And this is north of the cemetery in the sand roads. Do you have any comments here, sir?
First of all, the word equipment shouldn't be in there either. So FY19 is what would be our budget, but it's not out of the equipment budget. I can't give that kind of money up out of my equipment budget.
No, 'cause
Really?
this is coming from lost money.
This
Yeah.
this will be local option sales tax eligible.
Okay.
And,
That was gonna be my question.
first of all, I have to apologize for the totals not being in there, because when I submitted this proposal to the board to be on agenda, I did not include those totals, so that is my fault. The amounts are similar with similar types of structures that we've had Calhoun Burns design, so I think the prices are good and they're fair. The projects are moving forward. This G10 is the second bridge as we go north, so it's not the one with the river bridge, but it's the overflow bridge that's directly north of the river bridge. But these two bridges together, these make up the two that are south of the waterworks. So these projects moving forward gets the waterworks off of this island that it's on right now, where we can't get to the waterworks without crossing aged bridges.
And we're hoping to let those projects in January of this year for construction of 9.
I'm not gonna say January is a lock, but we are gonna be in 19 construction. So whether it's a January letting, a February letting, a March letting, as soon as they can start working, we're gonna have this thing under construction next summer.
Because that first bridge is the one that we acquired the $1 million grant for.
Correct. And it's gonna be a big project, and between those two bridges, it's gonna take almost every day a contractor has in a construction season to get it open before the snow flies.
You seriously think they'll be able to do both of those bridges in one construction season and get them
Yes.
reopened before winter?
Yes.
You
That's
have two
real.
companies?
It's gonna be one, I'm guessing they'll be tied, but as far as we get closer to the project, we'll tie them so that it is just one contractor now. The contractor could sublet one bridge out to another, or he could bring 2 crews in. There aren't that many small bridge contractors left. Pretty much everyone has more than 1 crew. Some have multiple crews. So I wouldn't be surprised if they are working on them at the same time.
I think it'd really be nice to be able to get it, the contract let, by February, because these companies, they're looking for jobs to keep these crews busy.
Yes, yes, and that's why I was a little nervous this morning, because I wanted to make sure we got these numbers right and kept this on agenda.
Okay.
Because the 2 weeks between now and the 10th of July are an important 2 weeks.
Okay. So the other change, though, is the last sentence there of this discussion. It said this will be funded by FY19 LOST funds, correct?
Well, yeah, it's gonna be it's from a line item in the budget that doesn't say anything about local option, but it's because of its bridge design costs, it's local option
Okay.
eligible.
Okay,
We'll just take out the word equipment.
Yep.
Just say the FY19
Yep.
budget.
we can do that. On both 21 and 22 items.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I would motion that we approve the supplemental agreement with Calhoun Burns and Associates for the final design services on Bridge G10 in the amount of $27,790.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Solosik,
Yes.
Patton,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Item has been approved. Okay. Anything else? Steve's gonna be right back.
Yeah, that's what we will.
Getting down to the end.
How much rain did you get down to your place last night?
2 and a quarter.
I got 1.25 inches at the house.
Really?
I just got 1 inch.
It,
We got,
I was
we got 2-1, so I'm guessing you got 2-1 at the sheriff's office.
You never know the way those.
No.
lines are.
You don't, there's some weird lines.
for some reason, as of lately, I've been kind of watching those big red blobs and running to another location from my house when they come through. Is there a lot of water?
Yeah.
We missed the first big red blob, but it went through Haverhillish area. And then it went a little bit west of Marshalltown, but the second one that came through,
Sounds like it's gonna be dry most of the rest of the week.
I can deal with that.
That'd be good.
I hope you're right, but I'm not,
We'll take a week or 2, we'll dry.
I'm not sure that's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think we got Was it Thursday?
Yeah, they kind of changed it.
You changed it already on me?
Gotten in the cycle and,
Oh, no.
It just won't stop.
no, it won't.
But thank heavens we're not up by Mason City in that.
Talked to a friend of mine in Sioux City in the Missouri bottom ground. He said there's thousands of acres is covered with water.
A new Great Lake in Iowa.
The bean fields, you could ski on, the cornfield is still sticking above the water.
Well, if it sticks around too, there's no replanting at this stage of the game.
No, by the time it dries out.
Yeah.
Over the years, people have replanted 4th of July soybeans. And depending on Mother Nature, whether you get a half a crop or not, it's generally your goal.
That late in the year, do the top pods even fill out?
Depends on your,
Last year, maybe.
On the year.
I mean, it stayed warm a long time last year.
yeah.
Was this a problem in '08 here?
Pardon?
Was that a problem in '08 when those floods came through?
Yeah. 93 was more general. 93 got a lot of us.
'93 was before I was around.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I've heard of it though.
Yeah, I was laughing about that too. I went, and 2 years later you were born. No, you were 94. You were 94.
The very, very
Very end of 94.
So I won't talk about 77 then either.
Well, I mean, you can, I won't know.
77 was the exact opposite.
It was a drought, or?
It was dry.
Yes.
Yeah, my corn that year averaged 6 bushels per acre.
What's the normal?
240.
Well, last year was 250,
Yeah, 240, 50, 60.
Yeah, but going back to that age, the difference in genetics is phenomenal.
We should have gotten 100 bushels an acre that year, and we got 6. Yeah.
6, yeah, it was.
Okay, moving on here, back in item number 2. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
We
I
did
don't
that.
have-
We're on
We
item
need a
22.
motion first. I have blank spots.
Oh, we didn't even do that one. Okay.
We're on number 22.
We're on number 22. We've had discussion. If there's no further discussion, I would entertain a motion for, I would entertain a motion. How about that?
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the supplemental agreement with Calhoun Burns and Associates for final design services on bridge number G13 at $113,790.
Mr. Chairman, I will second that.
It's been moved and seconded. There's no further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Solosik.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, motion's been carried. Moving on to item number 23, secondary road equipment purchase. Discussion and possible action to approve the purchase of a New Holland T dot 4110 utility tractor with a loader. Is that how it comes? T dot 4110?
I think it's T4.110.
Okay.
Not that that means anything to me either.
I read through it. It looked like a nice tractor.
It's a 4-wheel drive. It's gonna be our mower tractor.
Mhm.
And this one, we also elected to have the loader on it, so we can use it for other things. When we're not mowing with it, we can use it for,
Sure.
other small projects.
Can we hook up the shredder to it, or is it not big enough?
I don't think this is just not the same type of attachment, as far as the quick attach. But the shredder works on just on any skid loader options that we do from here on out. That'll be something we'll attach with.
And does all our existing equipment hook up to it?
No, this is our first run back into New Holland for quite a while. So we're gonna have a mower for this that we purchased later because the mowers are roadside mowers. We basically just run them into the ground. And when they're done, they're basically scrap.
Okay.
But a mower at this point in time will fit any kind of tractor.
Yeah, as long as it has exactly.
3-point and hydraulics.
3-point, yep.
And that's pretty common. 30 years ago it wasn't, but now it's pretty common to fit any color.
And we run the disc mowers and have had pretty good luck with them as
Yeah.
far as being able to keep them out there.
Mr. Chairman, I motion that we approve this equipment purchase of a New Holland T-4110 utility tractor with a loader to be paid out of the fiscal year 19 equipment budget.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. If there's no further discussion, roll call vote, please.
Solosik.
Yes.
Patton.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Okay, motion's been carried.
Finally, we get to you. You've been so patient.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
We could have done you first.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
It's good to know what's going on around the country.
So you now can report that the supervisors actually do stuff?
I will.
Okay.
This is item number 24, My Marshalltown M project, discussion and possible action to approve a request from Gary Shout, sponsor, to place a My Marshalltown M on Marshall County Courthouse grounds in the southwest corner. Would you like to address the microphone, please?
Well, good morning. I'm Kathy McCune. I'm here on behalf of the Assistance League for the My Marshalltown project. I did bring you guys a copy of our flyer if you need it. I don't know if you've seen
Oh,
those.
well, thank you.
I'll give you one and two. A couple years ago, we started the My Marshalltown project for the Assistance League as a joint community pride project and fundraiser. And I'm sure you've seen all the big M's around town, the big 5x5 foot red concrete M's, and then some of them are personalized. Gary Shout with Sage Point has offered to purchase one to be placed at the courthouse on the lawn, if you guys would agree to that. It would become your property. He will pay for it totally. And it can be purchased, or it can be placed at the location of your choice. I think they were thinking there was southwest corner somewhere in the discussion. We were real excited about it because we thought highlighting the downtown and the courthouse area with an M really helped get that sense of community and county pride. That's why we went with the M when we started the project instead of a figurine like a bobcat or something like that. We wanted to be countywide and citywide. So I'm here to answer any questions you have. Yeah.
Some of them got answered. I didn't have any idea how this was going to occur.
Okay.
So I visited with Lynn some.
Okay.
And I said, now, how do we get it here? And she says, it comes delivered and set. So
It comes, they're created at, created in Johnston, and what our delivery schedule has been is when we get 5 ordered and paid for and poured, Dennis from Created in Johnston brings them up. Jim Palmer in our community, we rent a forklift from Home Rental, and Jim has every delivery offered his time. He comes and drives the forklift, and we place it at the location, at the designated spot that the property owner picks. So they come up. That's all included in when the image is purchased.
So our only responsibility is to provide the concrete slab.
And that you can decide to do or to not do. Dennis has repeatedly told us that those things weigh like 900 pounds. So and they're on I don't know if there's a picture in here of what, this was before we had them made. They're on their own base. So they have an oval type base that they're on. They can sit right on the ground. Some people have chosen to go ahead and pour a slab. I know the schools did that because they wanted to adhere it, and it was just their choice to do that. So I guess that would be up to you guys, and we could work that out with Gary. If you wanted to have a slab poured, that's your choice. They don't have to have a slab.
I've noticed a number of them around town have been customized.
Yes.
And is that open to us too then? Or
I think that could be an additional, that's an extra $500, but if you wanted to have it customized, we have a group of artists that have agreed to do these for that $500 that goes all to the artist. It doesn't cover their whole, but they've agreed to kind of like donate their time and their, for that price. And then you work with them to come up with your design. So however you would want it to be. Like Lennox did theirs with Dave Lennox on it. 5 Star is gonna put stars on there. Jamie Bland did her elephant on hers. Sarah Summers out at her vet clinic has all the animals. So each person that's chosen to do a customized one has chosen their own design and worked with their artist.
So you prefer that we contract with these individuals you were just talking about?
That would be done at the time of that would be in the original purchase, and then you would just work with them to come up with a design. So I guess that would be something that you guys could decide on your own, if you want it personalized or just the solid red. And we could talk to Gary about the price difference, yeah.
Did you say it comes solid red?
It comes solid red. So I'm trying to think of some solid red ones. The one over here at the bank is solid red. Yeah. They come that way.
Okay.
And we could discuss that in the future. What do you guys do with the funds you receive? Does that go to the Booster Club?
No, this is an Assistance League project, so it's not, there's been some confusion on that because when we started the fundraiser, we took on a separate chunk to fundraise private donations to ensure that they could be at all the schools. The school district was very interested in having them placed, but they did not have the funds within their budget because they needed to use their funds for educational purposes. So as Assistance League members, we took on private fundraising, and the $16,000 or so that was needed to guarantee placement at each of the elementary schools and the secondary schools came through private donations. The profit that comes off these goes back into Assistance League, and Assistance League then supports a variety of community projects and countywide too. So, yeah.
Cool.
Not Booster Club, Assistance League.
Okay. Any questions?
Lucas, you gonna pour a pad?
I think we'll pour a pad.
Something we can do in-house?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue.
And do you have a location in mind?
Yeah, I was thinking kinda, my idea was maybe in the grass over here on the southwest side, maybe pointing towards Center Street a little bit was my thought.
Okay, because there's currently one just off the corner of the bank building
Yeah, I know
across
there's
the
one
street.
here.
Yep,
Yeah.
right there.
So I mean, that was my thought, I don't know, I mean, we could put it anywhere, really. I was thinking more on the south side, since we have a lot of activities on the north side. I don't wanna kinda swallow up some of the yard area that gets used a lot.
You know, but at the same time, if Gary's paying for this, it'd be kinda nice to have
If
it
you can
someone
see it.
across the street from his
See it.
office.
Gary doesn't have room for one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 'cause he's in
Yeah.
Right.
here, right? Yeah. Yeah, and that was my thought, that I knew he was in that area, so I was thinking, in this little section there, but if
You
we went
guys
somewhere else.
you
I'll
guys
look
work it
something.
out?
Okay.
Yeah, I would think in either of those little corners around that east-west sidewalk.
Yeah.
You know,
We're just really excited to
Yeah.
have one downtown and are glad you guys are
There too.
considering this. I was
Well-
sitting here thinking, we had a request earlier, this is an aside, but something for you to think about. We had a request earlier to have one donated out at Grimes Farm. And there was discussion that that wasn't possible because it was county property. But maybe that's something that might come to you in the future.
that's a separate board. That's the
So
Marshall
would,
County
Mike would need to
Conservation
be
Board.
involved in
Yeah.
that. He walked out before I was like, oh, Grimes Farm, yeah, that was.
Well, we've got his number, you can get
Yeah,
hold of him.
okay.
Yeah, we freely give it out.
Okay.
You know, this is very nice. Gary Schaut has been a tireless supporter of our community, you know, in triplicate. His commitment of time, talent, and funding has been tremendous. I sit on a number of boards with Gary, and he's a tremendous individual and a clear thinker, and highly respect him.
Well, and I think it'll be really great. We've got close to 35 in town now. And we are starting to see people who come to town and visit, or people who even live here, go around and take pictures with their kids and family at different places. We have plans in the future to do like a scavenger hunt map, so that like when people come back in for class reunions and that kind of stuff, it gets them out and about town looking, so they see the changes and they're not just on the main drag or not seeing the growth we've had around. So we really think it's a great thing for Marshalltown.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
Do we have a time frame on delivery?
It can be fairly soon.
Okay.
You just let us know when you're ready.
Okay. Oh, so you just deliver it whenever?
When we have
you're ready?
5 purchased,
Okay.
he can bring 5 up at a time.
Okay.
And-
then you wait for that? Do you have 5 purchased?
I think this would be, yeah.
Okay, so this,
So we would need to just talk to you about when you had your pad board.
okay. Yeah, I can hopefully get that done here in the next couple of weeks, so.
Okay.
All right.
So are you the contact then?
That-
He has a cell phone also.
Okay.
And we freely give the number out.
Okay, moving on then. The chair would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I motion that we approve the request to place an M on the Marshall County Courthouse grounds in the southwest corner.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. If there's any further discussion or questions? If not, roll call vote, please.
Solosik?
Yes.
Patton?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Okay, motion is approved. And moving on then, item number 25. Public forum is a time set aside for the public to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on this agenda. No action will be taken on any of these topics brought up in the public forum. Mr. Hoffman.
Greetings again. I just want to give you a quick update of some goings on over the last couple of weeks at the sheriff's office with our involvement At the State Center Rose Festival 2 weekends ago, our deputies brought up a trailer called What You Can't See, or What You Don't See. It recreates a simulation of a teenager's bedroom, and it's focused towards adults or other caregivers to go through in this environment to learn signs, symbols, cultures, paraphernalia that an adult parent, grandparent, caretaker would need to be involved with for signs that their loved one may be using drugs. And it's also a collaboration with substance abuse providers too. So after going through this and having the interactive experience with our deputies and representatives from the Iowa Narcotics Officers Association, they then have interaction at this point with members from Satusi. So it's a community collaboration to, again, try and combat the drug abuse that's prevalent in so many communities all across not only Iowa but the country. Following that, then last week we hosted Iowa Law Enforcement Academy in-service jail school. So we had 61 jailers, dispatchers, and deputies from over 20 counties across Iowa that spent 3 days here in Marshalltown. So we were proud again to showcase Marshalltown, Marshall County, and the Sheriff's Office, and that was a great event. We were happy to have that. And then thirdly, this past weekend, my office and deputies and other local law enforcement, including our families, made our 14th appearance in the National Multiple Sclerosis Society bike ride, where we raised money for National MS Society for awareness, research, and education and programs for those people that are afflicted with the disease and their families. And in that, our team, as a team, rode 65 miles, and then my 14-year-old daughter and I, because our team namesake had passed away earlier this year, my 14-year-old and I rode a little over 100 miles. And that's the current goings-on of the Sheriff's Office.
Thank you. Thank you. I might mention, too, I think we've talked about this a couple of times, but brought up again, about 2 months ago, you had an inspection of the jail by the state, and we got a letter from that. And if you want to speak to that, that'd be fine. It was a very impressive letter. They were very kind to not only you and your staff, but also to the jail and how it's being kept.
And buildings and grounds.
Yeah, they bragged on you. So
big time.
I think the community needs to hear that. So
yeah, we're proud of the professional efforts, and you know, we're fortunate to offer the community the options to tour the jail facility. We're still proud of the facility. It is an aging facility. It's hard to imagine that we've already been in that 18 years now. And considering we were only in the previous jail 30. But the staff are an incredible group of people, and we have dedicated members from buildings and grounds, and every employee out there does their part to showcase and make us all proud.
Yeah, thank you for coming up again and saying that. I was just impressed with the letter that we got. And so when I go around, I try to tell that story. And the last group I talked to about it was the chamber, and they all were very interested in so that's great to hear.
Yeah, it's on top of the state inspections, of course, with our federal contracts. Then we have inspections by even larger groups of federal inspectors that are experts in their various disciplines, from it might be medical or wardens that come across from the country and spend multiple days not just examining our policies and procedures, but as we say, rooting around in the back room, you know, seeing not just what you say you do, but proving you do what you say you do. And so those are, in the end, are all good for us to have us examined in that respect. And then periodically we also get inspected by the Department of Justice based off those federal contracts as well, which bring in the legal aspect and the civil rights aspect and access to care. So we have there's no shortage of review, all the way down to the elevator inspector.
Now, the state does it yearly. Does the federal do it yearly?
It has varied. It was an annual inspection for a number of years, and then it went to every other year, and I'm not sure where they've settled on now.
Okay.
But when it first started, it was 5 inspectors for 4 days. So, intense.
That's, that's like your in-laws coming.
Well, you know,
It wasn't that bad.
Oh,
it's, Lucas and his guys work in a little more challenging environment than when the in-laws are around.
I see, yeah,
I-
okay.
You know,
Okay.
you really gotta keep in mind, these guys are working inside of a prison. And they're doing their buildings and grounds work. And it's challenging to say the least, and poses its own set of unique challenges, and you guys deal with them tremendously. Thank you for your work.
Okay, moving on then, unless there's someone else I'm overlooking.
I have one question. Is there going to be additional law enforcement presence on Saturday with the 2 different groups going on since you're here?
Not at this point. There's not, outside of keeping an eye on the events. Traditionally, the Bible event obviously is not required law enforcement presence. We'll keep a pulse. We've had some communication already with Chief Tupper on the event, and of course, as it's proposed, the event currently is staged to be on the courthouse grounds. But unless we receive some intelligence that counter protesters are going to arrive that could, create conflict, then I guess the short answer is no, unless we need to. Will we have plans and contingencies? Yes, but will there be an overt presence? No.
Okay, thank you. Moving on then, item number 26, adjournment. The next regular meeting, I gotta read it first. The next regular session is July 10th, 2018 at 9 a.m. All business to be acted upon at that session should be submitted to the county auditor and recorder's office or the board of supervisors office by Thursday, July 5th, 2018 at 1 p.m. There being no further business to come before the board, the meeting is adjourned at 10:31.